Hello everyone, today we will learn 6.2 gains from consumption smoothing. It includes 1. Introduction, 2. The basic model, 3. Closed versus open economy law shocks, 4. Closed versus open economy shocks, 5. Generalizing, 6. Summary, save for a rainy day. 1. Introduction. In this section, we use the long-run budget constraint and a simplified model of an economy to examine the gains from financial globalization. We focus on the gains that result when an open economy uses external borrowing and lending to eliminate an important kind of risk, namely undesirable fluctuation in aggregate consumption. 2. The basic model. We adopt some additional assumptions. This holds whether the economy is closed or open. GDP is denoted Q. It is produced using labor as the only input. Production of GDP may be subject to shocks. Depending on the shock, the same amount of labor input may yield different amounts of output. We use the term household and country interchangeably. Preferences of the country or household are such that it will choose a level of consumption say that is constant over time or smooth. This level of smooth consumption must be consistent with the long-run budget constraint. For now, we assume that consumption is the only source of demand. Both investment I and government spending G are zero, and this assumption GNE equals personal consumption expenditures C. Our analysis begins at time 0, and we assume that the country begins with no zero initial worth inherited from the past, so that W-1 is equal to 0. We assume that the country is small and the rest of the world RW is large, and the prevailing world real interest rate is constant at R star. In the numerical examples that follow, we will assume R star equals 0.05 equals 5% per year. This assumption gives us a special case of the LBC that requires the present value of current and future trade balances to equal 0, because initial worth is 0. 0 equals present value of TB equals present value of Q minus present value of C, or equivalently, present value of Q equals present value of C. Remember, this equation says that the LBC will hold, and the present value of current and the future TB will be 0 if and only if the present value of current and future Q equals the present value of current and future C. 3. Closed versus open economy, low shocks. Table 6-1 provides a numerical example of our model economy when it is closed and experiences low shocks. Output Q is 100 units in each period, and all output is devoted to consumption. The present value of 100 in each period starting in year 0 equals the present value of 100 in year 0, which is simply 100, plus the present value of 100 in every subsequent years, which is 100 divided by 0.05 equals 2000, using equation 6-2 from the case of a perpetual no. Thus, the present value of present and future output is 2100. If this economy were open rather than closed, nothing would be different. The LRBC is satisfied because there is zero trade balance at all times. Consumption C is perfectly smooth. Every year, the country consumes all 100 units of its output, and this is the country's preferred consumption path. There are no gains from financial globalization because this urban country prefers to consume only what it produces each year, and thus has no need to borrow or lend to achieve its preferred consumption path. For closed versus open economy shocks, the smooth path for the closed economy cannot be maintained if it serves shocks to output. Suppose there is a temporary and anticipated output shock of minus 21 units in year 0. Output Q falls to 79 in year 0 and then returns to a level of 100 thereafter. The change in this present value of output is the drop of 21 in year 0. The present value of the output falls from 2,100 to 2,079, a drop of 1%. Over time, will consumption in an open economy respond to this shock in the same way closed economy consumption does? In the closed economy, there is no doubt what happens because all output is consumed and there is no possibility of a trade imbalance. Consumption necessarily falls to 79 in year 0 and then rises back to 100 in year 1 and stays there forever. The path of consumption is no longer smooth, as shown in Table 6-2. In the open economy, however, a smooth consumption path is still attainable because the country can borrow from abroad in year 0 and then repay over time. The country can't afford its original smooth consumption path of 100 every period because the present value of output is now less. So what smooth consumption path can it afford? In the first section of this chapter, we spend some time deriving the LRBC. Now we can see why the LRBC given by equation 6-4 is the key to determine a smooth consumption path in the face of economic shocks. Once we establish the present value of output, we know the present value of consumption because this must be the same. From this fact, we can figure out how to smooth consumption. In this example, the present value of output Q has fallen 1% from 2,100 to 2,079. So the present value of consumption must also fall by 1%. How should the country achieve this? Consumption can remain smooth and satisfy the LRBC if it falls by 1% from 100 to 99 in every year. To double-check this logic, we compute the present value of C using the perpetual formula again. 99 plus 99 divided by 0.05 equals 99 plus 1,980 equals 2,079. Because the present value of C and the present value of Q are equal, the LRBC is satisfied. Table 6-3 shows the path of all the important macroeconomic aggregates for the open economy. In year 0, the country runs a trade balance of TB equals minus 20, a deficit, because output Q is 79 and the consumption C is 99. In subsequent years, when output is 100, the country keeps consumption at 99 and has a trade balance TB equals plus 1, a surplus. Offsetting this plus 1 trade balance, the country must make net fact payments, NFIA equals minus 1 in the forms of trade interest paid. The country must borrow 20 in year 0 and then make in perpetuity 5% interest payments of 1 unit on the 20 units borrowed. In year 0, the current account CA equals TB plus NFIA is minus 20. In all subsequent years, net fact income from abroad is minus 1, and the trade balances is plus 1, implying that the current account is 0 with no further borrowing. The Chinese eternal words W is therefore minus 20 in all periods, corresponding to the perpetual note taken out in year 0. Eternal words is constant at minus 20. It does not explode because interest payments are made in full each period and no further borrowing is required. The lesson is clear. When output fluctuates, a closed economy cannot smooth consumption, but an open one can. By generalizing, suppose more generally that output Q and consumption C are initially stable at some value with Q equals C and eternal words of 0. The LRBC is satisfied if output falls in year 0 by delta Q and then returns to its prior value for all future periods. Then the present value of output decreases by delta Q. To meet the LRBC, a closed economy lowers its consumption by the whole delta Q in year 0. An open economy can lower its consumption uniformly every period by a smaller amount so that delta C is less than delta Q. A loan of delta Q minus delta C in year 0 requires interest payments of R star times delta Q minus delta C in later years. If the subsequent trade surpluses of delta C are to cover these interest payments, then we know that delta C must be chosen so that the interest due in the subsequent years equals trade surplus in the subsequent years. Rearranging to find delta C equals R star divided by 1 plus R star times delta Q. Thus, the generalized lesson is that an open economy only needs to lower its steady consumption level by a fraction of the size of the temporary output loss. For instance, in the previous numerical example, delta C equals 1, so consumption has to fall by 1 unit. Smooth consumption when a shock is permanent. When a permanent shock, output will be lowered by delta Q in all years. So the only way either a closed or open economy can satisfy the LRBC while keeping consumption smooth is to cut consumption by delta C equals delta Q in all years. Comparing the results for a temporary shock and a permanent shock, we see that an important point. Consumers can smooth out temporary shocks. They have to adjust a bit, but the adjustment is far smaller than the shock itself. But they must adjust immediately and fully to permanent shocks. 6. Summary. Save for a rainy day. Financial openness allows countries to save for a rainy day. Without financial institutions to lend or borrow, you have to spend what you earn each period. Using financial transactions to smooth consumption fluctuations makes a household and or country better off. In a closed economy, Q equals C, so output fluctuations immediately generate consumption fluctuation. In an open economy, the desired smooth consumption path can be achieved by running a trade deficit during bad times and a trade surplus during good times. Deficits and surpluses can be used to finance emergency spending. Thank you.